and welcome. This video will take you through the steps you need to take to convert a land transfer subdivision prepared in terms of the rules for Cadastral Survey 2010 to the Cadastral Survey Rules 2021. We are going to focus on this two-lot rural subdivision in Canterbury. It's a simple boundary adjustment between two existing titles to follow the existing fence line. We have fully captured the CSD, added supporting documents, prepared easement schedules, generated the plans, prepared a report using the automated survey report template. I've also assessed the pre-validation warnings under the rules for Cadastral Survey 2010. Firstly, we want to focus on the land online capture changes you need to make. All the changes we're going to show you are described in our document transitioning from RCS 2010 to CSR 2021. This document covers fieldwork, office work and land online changes and is available from the LINZ website. Now on to the land online capture changes, which in most cases will be very straightforward. The first thing you need to do is select the correct rules version in the Pre-Validation tab. Click and select the rules version CSR 2021. After the transition period, these options will disappear and the CSD will default to CSR 2021. Once you've selected the rules version, click on Pre-Validate button to rerun the CSR 2021 business rules and ensure the appropriate capture options are available. You can see under the Pre-Validation tab, we have a fatal warning. The following marks referenced by the survey have invalid purposes, conditions supplied. And if we expand on that, we can see the list of marks that need attention. We can now move on to the mark capture changes. To refresh your memory, here are the mark purposes and conditions that were introduced to support CSR 2021. You will see we now only have 5 mark purposes. We have replaced defined by survey, defined by adoption and accepted with the mark purpose boundary, permanent reference marks, and permanent reference marks / boundary and non-boundary stay the same as they were under the RCS 2010. We have added Cadastral Survey Network marks / vertical control marks, so these marks can be identified with a triangle symbol. There are also 3 new mark conditions you need to record. We added impractical to mark, where you're required to place a boundary mark, but you can't place the peg because of an obstruction or it's not safe. If you look for a mark but you can't find it, or it has been destroyed, you need to tell us that by setting the mark condition to searched for and not found. It's no longer appropriate to just record that information in the survey report. If the mark has been searched for and been destroyed, that is, you know it's been dug up because there's now a trench or a manhole in the same location, you need to set the mark condition to destroyed. One subtle difference between the Cadastral Survey Rules 2021 and the rules for Cadastral Survey 2010 is that you now need to have 3 permanent reference marks rather than 2, and that each mark needs to be within 500 metres of a Class B boundary point that is defined by survey. That's 500 metres because the survey is in a rural area and is generally considered to be Class B. The witness marks that we had in the rules for Cadastral Survey 2010 survey are not suitable for permanent reference marks, so we need to change those to non-boundary. We do that via the capture screen, then mark capture. We can sort by mark purpose, and you can see we've got 2 witness marks at the end here. It's actually got the code WITN rather than witness. That indicates that Land Online is simply not recognising the old reference marks under the rules for Cadastral Survey 2010, and that's because it's a conversion to 2021. So we're going to change witness. Let's change it to non-boundary. And we do the same for the other one. With Control plus S, we save those changes. You can see we already have got 2 permanent reference marks, but as you know, we need 3. We're going to change Old Iron Rod DP 65050 to a permanent reference mark, as we know it's durable, it's stable, and well buried. We also need to identify any Cadastral Survey network marks you've included in your survey to satisfy the connection requirements in Rule 17. Let's go back to the spatial view. Turn on the Cadastral Survey network marks and select one of them. So let's go to Layers, then Marks, and turn everything between Order 0 and Order 6 on. Apply that and make sure we can see the triangles, which are quite faint at that scale. We're going to turn off the matched marks, and let's zoom in a little bit. Now we can see 2 Cadastral Survey network marks here. One of them is here, which is where we put our base station, and that's also a permanent reference mark, so we don't want to select that. And there's also a mark up here, which is a Cadastral Survey network mark that I've adopted through. So we're going to select that mark, and we're going to convert that from a non-boundary mark to a Cadastral Survey network mark. In some situations, there are multiple Cadastral Survey network marks that are connected to by the survey. Only where a Cadastral Survey network mark has been used to meet the connection requirements in Rule 17, and it's not a PRM, does it need to be identified with a triangle symbol. Any boundary points set as defined by survey, defined by adoption, or accepted need to be converted to a purpose of boundary. You can clearly see the marked purposes that need to be converted. So defined by adoption has got the code BNDA, and defined by survey has the code BNDS. Rather than changing them all individually, we can set all of the boundaries defined by adoption and boundaries defined by survey to boundary. Select multiple, hold the Shift key, and select the bottom record. Set the purpose to boundary, and hit the apply button. Before we can save those changes, we need to change it back to single. Now I've also placed the boundary disk in a post, so we need to make sure that we use the circle symbol rather than the post symbol as specified in Schedule 7 of the Cadastral Survey Rules 2021. So again, let's order the marks by name, scroll down and find the post. You can see the mark type is set as post. We need to change that to disk, since I've actually placed a disk in the post. Save the changes. Our survey includes an existing water centreline boundary in the northeastern corner of Lot 2, so we need to update the irregular boundary capture. To do that, we're going to select Captured Parcel Boundary Lines, select the line with the selection tool, right-click and select Edit. Now you'll notice this screen is reduced. There's no longer a class of boundary because we don't have a class of boundary for water, irregular or water centreline boundaries. We've now added a new irregular line type called water centreline boundary, field is populated with the correct legal description, which is boundary follows centre of stream. We can save that change. For the next change, we're going to zoom in around the area of the water centerline boundary. Now we need to ensure that the right line boundary vectors intersecting the irregular boundary or water centerline boundary are set to class AD, BD or CD as required by Rule 30. So we're going to select captured parcel boundary vectors. There is a small one there between point 29 and 30 that we're going to edit. You can see the class is currently set to class B. We're going to set that to class BD. B represents the bearing class and D represents a distance class. We're also going to edit the other right line boundary that intersects with it. Set the class also to BD, and we're going to save those changes. It is possible that you'll also need to make some minor changes to the parcel capture if you have a height limited lot, area or section, or if you have an area of erosion. We don't have any of these in this survey, but we'll quickly demonstrate what you need to change. Under the Edit Parcel Details, you'll see the HL checkbox. If we click on that and click OK, that changes the appellation to Height Limited Lot 1. The other case is if you have an area of erosion. Rather than setting it to Hydro, you'll select the parcel intent of erosion. Now that all potential changes are made, we need to rerun the Prevalidation Report. Under the Cadastral Survey Rules 2021, a few business rules have been renumbered, and the rules specifically relating to the Cadastral Survey Rules 2021 start with the prefix 600. So let's look at some of the issues here. First, it's telling us that a survey report hasn't been included. We're using the automated survey report template, so it won't show up until the CSD is lodged. We're not going to look at the conflicts here today because they are standard topology validation checks, and that's unchanged from the Rules for Cadastral Survey 2010 to the Cadastral Survey Rules 2021. Under the warnings, we've got a couple to bring to your attention. The first one is C620. Warning 620 is telling us that we don't have a measured vector to a new survey mark. The second warning is C622, and it's related to the same issue, as we haven't included a pegging tie. Now we deliberately hid the pegging tie so you can see these new requirements for measured vectors to be included in the record of survey. So this can be easily fixed by adding a pegging tie between a permanent reference mark and the post. Under the information warnings, this one says business rule C445 has failed, and once again that's the same as under the Rules for Cadastral Survey 2010, so we won't expand on that here. And under the compliant list, you can see there's many C600 series business rules relating to the 2021 rules that have been automatically passed by the Land Online system. One of the big changes to the Cadastral Survey Rules 2021 is a requirement to include field information where the CSD includes measured vectors. Previously, the information was not required under the Rules for Cadastral Survey 2010. So as our CSD includes field measurements, we now need to include that information. Trimble and Leica have created excellent fieldbook reports that allow you to export the relevant information to a PDF file. Where possible, we encourage you to use a machine-readable PDF file so future surveyors can use electronic functionality such as copy and paste and Ctrl+F to locate relevant observations in the field information. We'll show you how to attach some field information for this CSD. Supporting document type is now field information. Now we attach the PDF file. It is a large file, as it contains colour images. Another change you might need to make is to the occupation detail. Occupation information is now required for all new boundary points. And if there's no occupation information, a no occupation annotation must be recorded. We had previously completed the survey report using the Land Online automated template. We recommend that you save a copy of your Rules for Cadastral Survey 2010 survey report before starting the conversion process. You can see from the label in the top left hand corner that the fields have been updated to Cadastral Survey Rules 2021, and the order is a little bit different. Our report was completed under the Rules for Cadastral Survey 2010, however there are now 2 required yes/no entries and 6 detailed entries to complete. The easiest way to complete the report is to hit the Find Incomplete button. You can see how it asks details of any conflict and how it was resolved. No conflicts exist. The next one is provide information about the accuracy of the determination of any water boundary, water centreline boundary or irregular boundary. We're going to add that information in here. The next one on the list is correspondence, and in this case it's not applicable. Next one is Maori Land Court notifications and exemptions, not applicable. Definition information and old survey marks. All information was recorded in the record of survey. Boundary marking and impractical to mark. Everything was marked, so that's not applicable. Exemption from boundary marking. Once again, that's not applicable. Now we've completed everything, so we're going to save the report, and that's the final item to complete. There should be no changes required to plan generation. But let's go take a look and check everything is in order and confirm that no changes are required. Let's edit the labels and position them more appropriately. The plans look in order and there's no further changes required. Now I've completed all the changes and Land Online, your CSD will be ready to lodge in terms of the Cadastral Survey Rules 2021. If you did have any questions as you go through this process, your first port of call for all Cadastral Survey Rules 2021 information is the Rules Implementation page on our website. The best way to get to the implementation page is to search CSR 2021 in the LINZ website. Click on the top search result. Here you can find clarification of the rules, Cadastral Survey guidelines, Land Online issues and training material. Finally, if you can't find the information you're after, please contact us at sgrulesreview@linz.govt.nz. Thanks for watching.